Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Truth About Marketing. Got my guy, Jon Kilmer, here with me today. He's the head of media for the artist Mike and the head of community for their platform groups. Jon, thanks for coming on.
Of course, man. What's up, Colin? How are you?
Man, just going through life. A lot of new changes, a lot of good things happening, spinning this interview series back up. So I was really excited. Got a lot of people talking to me saying they wanted to see some more interviews. And again, thank you for coming on. I know a lot of people will be excited to hear what you have to say. So I'm stoked for this.
Hell yeah, man. Marketing's dope. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And we start off every episode with this little lightning round. All right. So not too big of a hot seat, but it's like 7-8 questions. We go through it. Just give us your spitfire answer, a little quick explanation, and we'll get to it. All right, cool. Ready? All First one. Favorite business or marketing technology?
I'm a little biased here, but I'm going to have to go with Groups, which Mike and I are partner at and help launch.
Cool. Favorite social channel?
I'd say to post, I like Instagram, but as a viewer, I like TikTok.
And least favorite social channel?
I've gone really far away from X, Twitter. I'm not really a fan of that anymore.
All right. And brand that you love?
I've recently become a huge fan of this company called overnight.com. They hooked me. I love the product. I love the branding. I'm a subscriber.
Dude, our boy Brian Tate from Scottsdale started that. He's the man.
Maybe you can get me a discount. I love that brand.
Favorite influencer business leader?
I'm kind of like I like the realm of like the nutrition and like fitness stuff. So I like Gary Brecka. I like Brian Johnson, the guy who's like trying to age in reverse.
Yes.
And as far as fitness, I know it's kind of obvious, but I love Sam Sulek. I think he's just a really great influencer. And I think in the fitness space, he's a really funny guy and makes really good content.
Very good. Very good. And then brand or person you'd like to work with the most?
I know I'm shooting for the stars here, but I got to go with my guy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It's been my dream for about 15 years now. And
love it.
I'm not saying it's impossible. It could happen.
Very good. Very good. Hey, you know, if you don't shoot your shot, you'll never make it. So
biggest shot I could take. Yeah.
I love that. Well, we'll tag him and see if he hears it. So
yeah.
Cool, man. Well, why don't you, for those that don't know you, why don't you give a little bit of background about yourself, kind of how you got to where you are today?
Sure. For those that don't know me, I work for the artist Mike. He's currently one of the biggest fully independent artists in the world. And I've been working with him for about 14 to 15 years now. It's been a really long journey. We started together pretty much at the very beginning around 2010, 2011, when we were just fresh out of college. I've kind of been like a creative Swiss Army knife for him for the past 13 to 14 years. We've done a lot of content and a lot of cool stuff together. We had YouTube series. We had a television show that got picked up at NBC Universal. We had a very popular podcast with 150 episodes with guests like Larry King and Travis Kelce, and the list goes on. It was called the YNK Podcast. And on top of that, I've been on tour as a traveling videographer. We've done over 500 to 600 dates together just through national tours over the years. It's just been a lot, like a really, really fruitful friendship and partnership with Mike and I. And recently in the last 2 years, we helped launch a platform called Grouped, which is an online platform for musicians to help empower artists through online communities and just bringing all your top fans into one place. And there's a big marketing element too, which we're starting to expand on.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the things that we've talked about it with multiple guests on this show before is just how amazing that Mike's community is and that community that you guys have built up. I know I'd had conversations with him in the past just about Only Steve's and the ability for you guys to just connect with your audience and really like, it's not like anything I've ever seen. You know, I mean, there's artists and stuff that, you know, hey, they go do meet and greets and they do signings but I feel like with Mike, you guys have created such a way for him to genuinely connect with people and like they feel it, right? So like talk a little bit about that because again, now you're also the head of community at Group. How are you going about that? And like, what makes you guys so special and different that you're able to be so successful doing that?
Yeah, well, two things. We took the long way. Mike never signed a record deal. So he's had the creative freedom to do whatever he wants. And a lot of times when you're signed to a label and there's a bigger like engine behind you, things just move a lot slower. Decisions are a lot slower. You can't be as nimble. So with our team being as small as it is and being completely independent, he could have an idea on a Tuesday and we put it into motion on a Wednesday or Thursday. Right. That just doesn't really happen a lot if you're a signed artist and you have something like Warner Brothers or Atlantic having to call the shots and line everything up. It could take forever. So there's that. And then secondly, we've just been very transparent with our fan base and we've done that through content. That's kind of been our form of marketing. We've never really spent any real money on marketing Mike's brand or anything like that. It's really just been consistent transparency through the content we make. And a lot of that has been from weekly YouTube videos back in the day or tour vlogs or a podcast we used to do weekly. If you look at our YouTube, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos and hundreds of hours of content we put out over, 10 plus years. So our fans now just really know who we are, because Mike didn't just really empower himself. He empowered all of us. And we've kind of a lot of us have been like almost characters or like people within the brand that he's empowered as well. And we've done that through our content. So when we have shows and when people come to see us, they feel like they already know us when they've never met us before. And that's just, that transparency has just kind of really grown a grassroots fan base over the years, and it's really made a special relationship between us and the fan base.
Well, I kind of joked the other day, I made a comparison. I was like, dude, honestly, like for those that do follow you guys, it's almost like he's like the Dave Portnoy of music. Like he created these personas and like, they have that for sports, but Mike's got this whole thing with like music where it's like, and he's got these people that come, Aaron Rodgers and Stroh and like all these other people that come in and they also help out with that kind of network effect. But the idea is, to your point, like there's characters, right? Like you, Versace, right? I mean, there's everybody's involved. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And Mike is just a testament to him, that, like you were saying, why he has so many great guests and supporters and stuff like that. He's just such a likable guy. And especially now, these past couple of years, he's got such a great head on his shoulders. And it's been a pleasure growing up with him, because that's what we've really done. We've grown from like really immature, stupid kids to like adults. We've done it together, and it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even the few years that we've known each other, like it's just a huge transformation. And I think everybody's obviously grows up, we evolve, like things get better. But talk about that too, because that was one of the, the first show I went to was in Nashville when you guys kicked off the Highs tour, right? Which was 3-4 years ago now. And then now, again, you guys are going back out for a second leg of the Lows tour. So talk a little bit about that and what that's been like to now play bigger venues, have more demand, and again, being able to sell these places out.
Yeah, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, because Mike and I were talking about this on our podcast the other day, and I've had such an interesting lens of seeing our growth, and that's pun intended, because I'm videoing the concerts. But my lens has been so crazy, because every show Mike comes out on stage and I walk out behind him, and I'm literally behind him at the entire show, just looking at the entire crowd and the entire audience. And that's been my vision and like my point of view for the past 14 years since we started touring in 2011. And the show started, we literally started from the bottom. The show started with 100 people in a packed bar. And the concert you're talking about in 2022 that you went to in Nashville, that was at like a 2,000 person room. And at the time, that was a really big show for us. And now we're about to end this next leg in Nashville in 2025, 3 years later, and we're playing a 7,000 person venue, and we're most likely going to sell it out. So it has been a really steady growth, and these past 2-3 years has been a little exponential. There's been a bit of a hockey stick curve, and that's a testament to a few different things, but it's been so cool from my point of view to see the growth. And just when you stick with something for so long, for over 10 years, just like really keeping your head down and grinding every day. This is why Mike talks about retiring, because we literally haven't let up in 15 years. Like we just haven't stopped. There's been no break of let's take a break. And it's just been kind of like head down and working and grinding the entire time. So it's really nice to see it pay off in those concerts. When you see all those people, that's kind of like seeing the fruits of our labor pay out visually. And it's a really special feeling. And we all get a little emotional, especially this past leg when we played places like St. Pete and Boston and Chicago, where we all had 5,000, 6,000 people, 7,000 people at these shows. It's emotional because we know where we started from and our roots. There's just been so much work that's gone into it. I know everyone says this, but I mean, I can honestly say so much work has gone into it, and it's just really cool to see the payoff.
Yeah, absolutely. And so from a growth perspective, we talk about business, marketing, et cetera. What would you attribute like most of your guys, or I guess what I would say is, what do you think some of the things that worked really well for you, right? That you saw a lot of ROI that you were like, damn, like we need to keep doing this.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because the type of marketing we do with content, like it's hard to see the ROI. It's almost intangible. And you do start to see it when you actually go tour and you go to a city and you're like, whoa, twice as many people showed up. Right. There's no immediate ROI, or like, yeah, you get views on content and stuff like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean people are going to listen to your music or buy your merch or go to your shows.
Right.
So it's really just seeing it when you go to the concerts. But the things that have really worked for us is just, I think it's just authenticity and being totally transparent. Like music is tough because like a lot of artists either don't want to be transparent, or they kind of want to hide behind this veil of creativity where they're not really a quote unquote influencer. And I think that term kind of has a negative stigma, because I don't think we're necessarily influencers, but we could come off that way because we post a lot of content on social media and on YouTube and all that type of stuff. I think a lot of artists, they kind of have a negative stigma with that. And we just never have. We've always really hit the ground running and are constantly not just putting ourselves out there, but putting our true selves out there. And we've changed a lot over the years. And fans that have kind of stuck around for a decade plus, like, they've grown up with us and they've gotten to kind of like see how we've grown up, and we kind of just all do that together. And it's been so fun. And the more years we're into it, like the more strong that bond is between us and our fans because of all that work we put in to create that content.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, I hate the word cult when people talk about this, but like cult following, but it's like,
yeah,
dude, you walk down the street, you see someone with an SR hat, right, for Stevenson Ranch, and like everybody, you instantly feel like, I know that person. You know what I mean? Even though like never met him, but you just know, because if you know what Stevenson Ranch is, then you're part of the club, kind of, right?
Yeah,
so like talk
cult,
a little bit about
honestly.
building that. Like that's really just an amazing thing, and it happens naturally, right? It's not like you guys set out to do that.
No,
it's just become.
Mike's a branding genius. I'm just going to come out and say it. He's a branding genius. It's been that way since day one. And it kind of, once he starts creating these brands that surround his music business, that's what even strengthens that brand. So Stevenson Ranch is a great example. That brand was started 3-4 years ago, and it came from this joke we had of just calling each other Steve as a joke. And then we started calling our fans Steves. And then now it's like, it kind of is a cult. You see a guy with an SR hat and you just go, "What's up, Steve?" You don't even know him. And he's like, "What's up, Steve?" And everyone's kind of in on the joke. And then we called our community Only Steves as the joke from OnlyFans. And then that goes on to be like $1 million business. And it just like, man, he's just so good at branding, and he's done it consistently, like just consistently year after year. And whether it's been with the podcast or with any type of reoccurring series we do, or with Only Steves with our online community, he's just done such a great job of that. And I think with good branding comes a cult fan base, and with longevity too. But I think the two work hand in hand.
Yeah, no, and so the other thing that is super unique about it is, and I equate, again, it's such a small world because him knowing Ebb and Britton and stuff that I went to college with, and I've known Ebb since I was 18.
didn't know you went to college together. That's crazy.
Yeah. He was at I worked for the football team, and Ebb was our starting left tackle. So like, I've known Ebb since I was 18, right?
Wow.
And they're just so unique, both personalities, because Ebb and Mike have both been through so much and like been through the ringer, but people don't really realize that. They just see the good parts and he's in the NFL and Mike's a singer, and dude, they've been through it. And like Mike's, even just in the years that we've known him, again, like through business and music and trial and error, there's a lot of shit that's happened, right? So I think another thing to talk about is like the resiliency of it. Like, how do you guys like push forward when something doesn't work, or like when you're in a tough spot?
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about Mike, I mean, his music career started because something didn't work out. He was a pitcher at Duke University, one of their best relief pitchers they've ever had, still holds the record for lowest ERA in a season. It's like 1.6, had like an incredible All-American freshman year. And then he just got injured, and then he got Tommy John surgery. He didn't bounce back, and music wasn't even in his brain yet. He had no musical training. He had never done music before. And when baseball started to slow down, he used music as an outlet and started making it for fun with his friends and with Marcus Stroman in the dorm rooms and stuff like that, and at the baseball house. And it just kind of had this immediate tiny little boost. And he took something that like was the worst thing that had ever happened to him, and then he ended up picking up music, and it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to him. So like, we have this saying where it's like, if something bad happens, who knows if it's good or bad? You really have no idea, because something might happen 10 years down the road that it would never have happened if that downfall didn't happen 10 years ago. So we try to have a positive mindset when things don't work out, because it's so hard to tell if it's going to work out for the best or not down the road. And me speaking personally, like I've gone through my own failures and stuff like that. And whenever I have had failures, something like always amazing has blossomed from it. Like always.
Yeah.
And
always opens new doors.
Yeah. Mike was rebranding back in like 2017, 2018. He was rebranding from Mike Stud to Mike. And we were all living in LA at the time. And with that comes like a lot of downtime. He wasn't touring. We weren't shooting music videos. We weren't doing the podcast yet. We didn't have our online community yet. So I was waking up every day for like a year, living in the house with Mike in LA. And I had like nothing to do for like a year. And I was like, man, and this is coming off of like 6 years of just like steady growth, really busy. We just came off a television show that was a docuseries that aired on TV. that summer before. And we were really successful on just going on tour every year, like having great shows, having like positive growth on YouTube. And then like just a year and a half of just nothing. And I'm like, damn, I peaked. Like I literally have no use to wake up every day for like a year. And like Mike's like figuring out his rebrand and figuring out his sound and all that. And I'm like, wow, I really have nothing to do. And because of that, I went to school as a film major and I always wanted to make movies. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like write my first feature screenplay. I'm going to raise the money. I'm going to bootstrap it. And I'm just going to go shoot it because I got nothing going on this year.
Yeah.
And I would have never done that if we were busy like we always are every year.
Yeah.
It was almost like a year off to just kind of the boredom almost like lit a fire under my ass to go do something that I know I wouldn't have done otherwise. That's always been a dream of mine.
Yeah.
So that ended up being like a 2-year project. And then I put out my first movie, which is now on Amazon Prime, which is called The Primrose. Right? We crowdfunded like $30,000 and just shot it, which a lot of, if people don't know, like $30,000 is not a lot to shoot a movie that's 90 minutes long. It's not even a lot to shoot a music video in most cases. So that would have never happened if I didn't kind of go through that slump. So I always tell people when they're going through a downtime or a down period in their life or something bad happens, it's like you really don't know what's going to come from it.
Yeah. I mean, I can say the same for myself in terms of, I was in between jobs and was like, do I want to go back to corporate? Do I want to start my own thing? And then in the meantime, I'm like, well, you got a couple months here, like take a little break. Started like doing podcasts, interviewing people. Lo and behold, that kind of put me in the direction of, hey, like a lot of people want to work with you, like on the marketing front. So shoot your shot, just go try it. You know what I mean? If it doesn't work, you can always go back to corporate. You know what I mean? And so, same thing. That's kind of how that went. But yeah, talk to me a little bit more. Again, you have a lot of projects personally, but now I have my podcast, but you're also doing your new show on Monday morning. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is kind of like a long time coming. I've done this show. I've relaunched it 3 times now, and I've kind of always gone through little breaks and just because of stuff going on in my own life. But it started with years ago, 2022, maybe about 3 years ago, when Spotify reached out to Mike and I because they knew about our podcast, and they were like, we're introducing a new feature that we want to roll out to a few people to test out called Music and Talk on Spotify. And it was a way for like to create a podcast, but integrate music into your podcast using all the songs in the Spotify library. So I was like, that's cool. And Mike was like, I don't think we want to do anything with that because we're just doing our podcast YNK. We don't really need to incorporate music. And the first thing that I thought of, I was like, wow, this opens up so many doors of creating like a radio style show with music and talk, like a morning show, like Elvis Duran in the morning. And in my opinion, radio is kind of a dying industry and it's kind of everything's just on demand and streaming now. I thought, wow, it would really be cool to create a morning show that you could stream and just play on demand whenever you want with like, it's almost like Sirius times 100 because there's like, you can make it whatever you want. There's no censorship. You could just like literally make whatever you want. So that's how it started. And I started doing that. I did probably 30 or 40 episodes with that format. And then once we started launching Grouped is such an incredible platform because the way it empowers artists is you get to own all your own data. So when you create something and you start onboarding people, whether it's paid or for free, if they're just giving their email to sign up, you now get their email. You can collect phone numbers, you can collect address, you can collect whatever they're willing to give you. And then you own all your own data so you can reach your fans. So you might be not casting like as wide of a net, but just for context, someone like Mike, who has like 700,000 followers on Spotify, he can't directly reach those 700,000 people, even though they all clicked follow on Spotify. He can't directly reach all of them unless he does some type of paid promotion through Spotify. So we wanted to create something like Grouped where you're not necessarily getting rid of that, but just at the bottom of the funnel, you can get all your like real fans in one place and you can directly reach them whenever you want. So I relaunched the Power Hour on there because I was like, this would really be great there was just a lot of stipulations with the old format where you had to play like entire songs. You couldn't like play a part of a song and then start talking again. You have to play the entire song in its entirety, and you can't talk over the music or you can't alter the music in any way. And I was like, all right, that kind of sucks because that's like, I'm not going to play a 5-minute song because I'm just going to have to sit through it. You know what I mean?
It's Freebird.
Exactly. Yeah. So now I'm like, I want like full control over this show. And I also like when I relaunched it, I'm like, I'm the busiest I've ever been, but I really want to do this. I need to figure out a way to do it with there's no editing involved. So I picked up this turntable here, really this like crappy turntable off Amazon. And I'm like, I'm going to teach myself how to just like DJ music live and just like talk between the songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm only 2 episodes in, but I'm having a blast. Like, I feel like a kid again,
Yeah.
like just learning stuff. And that's kind of the beauty of why I'm doing this show. Cause it's just a fun thing for myself. And you can just like learn something new and have fun. And I love music and I love entertaining people. I love talking on shows like this. So it's been really fun. And like DJing and doing like little talk radio shows over the music and stuff. It's been a blast for me. So yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, it's just on powerhour.fm and it leads right to my grouped page. So if you want to check out the group platform too, you can see how it works.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's rad. I mean, I feel the same way about, I never got into this like monetize on a platform or monetize on a podcast, but just talking to people, again, connecting networks. I've had so many people that just watch some snippets and then they connect and maybe start doing business together or something like two other people, right? Which to me, that's all it's about. Like if anybody gets value out of this, cool. Cause for me, it's fun, right? Like it's connect with old friends, haven't talked to you in a while. So like doing this is fun.
Yeah.
What's some like advice that you would give? Because again, you've been doing this for 14 years. So like you've seen ups, you've seen downs, highs, lows, if you will. What is some advice like you'd give to people that are like just getting started? Like, you know, hey, I'm interested in media or filmmaking or music. Like what would be some advice when you're getting going?
Yeah, it's so interesting because when I started media, it was like before the kind of boom of like everyone becoming media or content creators. There was no social media yet. There was Twitter, I think that's it, and Facebook. Instagram and TikTok didn't exist yet, and YouTube was very popular and kind of longer form stuff was more popular. And there were just less videographers out there. Like iPhones didn't really shoot great videos yet. So when I came up, it was kind of a bit of luck with timing, I'd say. But I think there's a lot of universal truths aside, no matter when you start. And like we were just talking about with my show and this like turntable learning how to DJ, like that's how I felt when I was like, starting up with learning how to use my camera or learning how to like mix music or make beats or whatever. It started with like me not knowing how to do something and just having like so much fun throwing paint against the wall, having like no thought about what the results are going to be, like just completely detaching from the results and just having fun. And I know that's like a tough pill to swallow. That's for people that are like, I need to make a living. I need to make money doing this. And obviously like that will come in time. Like I don't think you can just pick up something like a camera or any of this stuff and just start making money immediately. Like you have to go through a process of like developing and learning and sharpening your craft. And during that time, like you really have to detach from the results. So I don't know if that happens if you're just starting out, if you're just out of college and, you know, you could pick up like a job bartending and you want to do the stuff on the side and learn it and turn it into a career. You can do that. Like my first year out of college was a train wreck. And I was lucky because of the timing, but also I was pursuing so many different creative avenues because I'm just a generally very curious guy and I like to try different things. And I mean, that's another bit of my advice is to skill stack because so many people can do so many different things. But if you can do like 5 things really well, something will come of it. And you will be like the perfect person for one specific thing. One example of that is I came up working in both music and film. Like I worked side by side since I was young, since I was in college or maybe even high school. I was obsessed with film and music and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I taught myself like music and engineering and producing myself through college. And I studied film in college. And I just always had this curiosity, wanted to pursue both, not knowing what was going to come of either of it. I had no idea. I was like, I just love doing these 2 things. And as I got out of college, like I started picking up little side gigs, doing like a little bit of filming here, a little bit of like engineering here, selling beats to these people and barely getting by, mind you, but like creating those contacts for each of those trades, like just like working with so many different people because I offered so many different things. And then fast forward like all these years to like 2019 when we start the YNK podcast, I'm now in a position where we don't need a crew of 3 or 4 guys to produce a very high quality podcast. I can literally sit there, I can co-host it, I can run the microphones, I can run the cameras, I can edit the entire show myself really, really quickly because at that point I was over 10 years deep in both of those trades of audio and video. And I was like, thank God I stuck with both of those things because I got a lot of conflicting advice growing up from very successful people, older people saying, just stick with one thing and be the best at that thing.
For sure.
And that's such an old head way of thinking where that just doesn't apply now because we are in a time where information is endless. You can go on YouTube and you can learn anything. That's what I'm doing with my DJ turntables is 1,000 videos on beginner DJing and learning Serato and learning the turntables, where like that wasn't as accessible 15 years ago, but now it is. So now it just comes down to putting in the time. You really have to put in the time to learn what you're doing. And if you're interested in multiple things, try everything. Literally try everything. And if you love 10 things, be the best you can at those 10 things. Because I guarantee you an opportunity will come down the road where you will be the only person that's suitable for that job. And it's because you spent all the time on all those different skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, it all kind of translates because you guys, again, it went from now all of a sudden you're not really doing a vlog, but you're putting out things like on Only Steve's and videos and little snippets and unreleased music. And so like the whole multimedia world in general, like you've obviously been able to be a huge jack of all trades for Mike, which is fantastic. But talk a little bit about, again, so you have all these things going on. So you got a merch line in Stevenson Ranch, you got Only Steve's, you got now Grouped, you got, I mean, where do you guys kind of see yourselves continuing to evolve? Because again, I mean, the idea is you can't do all of this forever unless you just grow massively and hire a bunch of people. What's kind of next, or what do you think is like on the roadmap here?
Well, Mike has spoke pretty extensively about retiring in a few years, and I believe him because like we're just worn out dogs at this point. And you caught kind of the tail end of it, but like we were burning both ends of the candle for a long time, for a long time. And we kind of stopped around 2021. So it's been like 3 years of just cleaning our act up. But those years kind of it was a lot.
Yeah. I'm sure people can go back and check on YouTube.
Yeah. And on top of that, like Mike's an ambitious guy. And like you said, he has all these brands surrounding his music, and his music career is getting bigger now. And it's the biggest it's ever been. And he's like, I want to hang it up. And a lot of people are like, why the hell do you want to retire? You're the biggest you've ever been. Like keep going up. And
the Barry Sanders of music, dude. You just hang it up in your prime.
He likes the idea of kind of, hanging it up while you're on your way up, which is pretty cool. But at the same time, like I can relate to him because we've literally been doing this for almost 15 years and we're just so fucking tired. And like, I'm not married. I don't have kids. He doesn't have kids. Like we kind of put a lot of stuff on hold, maybe subconsciously, because like, in the forefront of our mind, we're like, we just have to do this. We have to see it through and make it the biggest it can be. And we have to deliver because we're giving this incredible opportunity, and succeeding at this level as an independent artist is like the slimmest chance ever. Like we were given like the craziest chance ever of even getting to this level. So I think we just want to see it through. And to answer your question, when he hangs it up in a couple of years, some of these brands are still going to exist. Like Stevenson Ranch is going to live on forever. And I'm a little less involved with the merchandise side of things, but that brand's going to live on forever. And I mean, Only Steve's in the community, who knows, but Grouped is going to live on forever. Yeah. And that's a platform now where we can, just to give people a little context about Grouped, is that company formed and we started working with them because we started doing the subscription-based model before any other artist. We were one of the first ones to do it and start to succeed at it for a few years. And then some partners and some friends that we knew wanted to create a company and base it off of our business model that we've been doing for a couple of years, using that subscription-based model with our fans. And we just built a whole platform from scratch to empower musicians to help them do the same exact thing. So now it's like, Mike's part of that company, I'm part of that company. And it's just great that I can now, even if Mike retires, I could still help hundreds and hundreds of artists every day. And we're already doing that, and the company's growing rapidly. And it's great that I can apply what I've learned and what we've learned over the years to help new artists and younger artists. So that's been a really cool part of it. And I can see, even when Mike retires, I can see myself continuing to do that.
Yeah, no, I think what's incredible and what people don't really understand from a numbers perspective, and, I had a lot of conversations with Cody all about this. And, as far as business goes, it's like, you don't really realize that if you can capture like 5,000 people, 10,000 people, and they're loyal, like avid, like whether it's fans, customers, whatever, like that's good money. And when you stop worrying about the actual dollar and trying to be everything to everybody, like you can connect with those. Again, it starts, maybe it's 500, then it's 1,000, then it's 10,000. There's a lot of good money to be made, and you could be doing something that you genuinely feel good about and are happy about. So talk a little bit more about that also, because again, I don't think that either of you guys have ever been flappable and like trying to just be whatever to everybody to make money. That's never been what you guys are about. So
yeah. Just to kind of, I was talking about this earlier about the funnel, and like platforms like, YouTube and Spotify and all these streaming networks, like, and Instagram and TikTok, they're all kind of necessary evils. Like you kind of need those things. The way their business is set up for people to fail. And it's almost like the mafia. Like Instagram, you put out a post and it reaches 15 to 20% of your followers. And in order to reach all your followers, you got to give us a little money. Like
Right.
that seems like the mafia to me,
Yep.
but you have to use it because that's the way to get yourself out there. So you need to go through this discovery mode. That's essential. But when it comes down to monetizing, you really want to, and we talk about marketing, you really want to like hyper target the people that really care.
Yep.
So you see people that are like over promoting stuff on Instagram. Well, there's a lot of casual followers on there. Like it doesn't take a lot for someone to hit the follow button or to hit the like button.
Right.
And that doesn't mean they're a huge fan. So it's almost like those numbers, like you can kind of go by them, but they don't really mean much. I've seen people with 1 million followers that works in music and they can't sell out a 200 person room.
They're vanity numbers. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. They're vanity numbers. So why we create a group is because like now at the bottom of the funnel, you can take all those people and you can say, all right, if you engage with this stuff, the people who engaged with this stuff the most, like here's more. If you want to see more, like go here. So they have to take an action item. They have to engage the most and they have to go through an action item to go see more. And those people that engage the most, that go through that action item to go see more in groups in your online community or whatever, those are the people you should be marketing to. Those are the people that are like the bulk of people that will actually buy something from your business. So a lot of people make the mistake of trying to cast the widest net and promoting and trying to sell on these discovery platforms where that's just not how you should do it. You should use those platforms to get new fans and to make people diehard fans and get them to go through that heavy engagement, through that call to action into your super fan club. And then within there, promote all the stuff you want to promote because they want to see it. They want to be a part of it. They want to buy these things. They want to feel more connected to you. So that's been a great learning process over the past couple of years. And we've seen so many success stories, not just through Mike, but through so many artists that have been joining the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in tech, we would call it power users, right? And the idea is like, those are people that are in the platform every day. They want to talk about it. They want to share it. They want to, and when you really drill down, it's like, when, my old company is like, we have 30,000 customers. Yeah, but we have like 5,000 power users. And those are the people that we want to like, nurture and upsell and like continue to work with and like be part of our ecosystem. So fully get it. And it translates across a lot of industries, which is beautiful. But, speaking to indie artists, right? Why grouped? Why is grouped going to be, cause you explained a little bit about top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, but like there are other platforms again, where you can be a creator and earn money. So how is grouped different and why should people look at that, especially for indie artists?
Yeah, for starters, grouped is niche for artists. So it was made by artists for artists. When we started the platform and we started bringing on just artists within our own network, including ourselves, we just asked everyone, what would be a feature that you would want on here? What's something that would help you grow your business or help you connect with your fans? We went through a whole year of just bootstrapping and creating stuff and putting all the money into developing stuff that artists wanted, which you look at other platforms like, Patreon's kind of similar, but that's not just catering towards musicians. And they just don't work that way. They don't ask people what they want. They just kind of like make some tech and try to sell it to people, where we're just doing it the opposite way. Like instead of marketing the platform, we're putting all our resources into making the best platform and letting it speak for itself. So that's what we've been doing the last couple of years. And on top of that, it's very favorable money wise. Like you could use the platform for free if you want. It includes a free CRM tool. So even if you're not making any money on there and you have thousands of contacts, you could still contact all your fans and we don't make any group that makes no money. So it's just very favorable. And we're continuing to add more and more tools. And it's the market share for independent musicians is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The record labels are starting to make massive layoffs. There's just a huge shift. And what you were saying is like, it's no longer, I know why people like want to be very famous, because you can get famous in a day now with algorithmic stuff on social media. You could have a viral moment and you can feel famous and you could even be famous for a long time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're making a lot of money or monetizing properly. So I think there's going to be this giant shift where people are going to start to recognize that it's more valuable to have less fans that really care about you than trying to cast this wide net and getting vanity numbers and just being broke all the time. So grouped is a great bridge to that gap where we're just creating all these tools where you can monetize if you want, or you could just reach all your fans if you want for free, but we're just going to give you all the tools and you can do whatever you want with it to just empower yourself and to have a better connection with your fan base. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I mean, again, it's been super cool to watch because learning and kind of, again, I think in general, people are kind of programmed to, hey, you need to be big, you need to be everything to everybody. But again, whether it's been politics, whether it's been sports, whether it's been
you see people kind of start to double down and like just go into what they really are passionate, what they really care about. And those people end up succeeding way more. And again, no past judgment on like what side it is or what team it is or what, but it's just the idea that I feel like there's a lot more conviction now. Like people aren't feeling as pressured to be this kind of, Swiss Army knife of whatever. You can have an opinion and you can be meaningful in it and still make good money, make a living. And that's what's awesome about the creator economy. But cool. Was there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to explore a little bit?
I don't know. Hopefully you can make it out to our show in Arizona this year. Are you going to be there?
We are there. Me and Cotter bought 20 tickets, so we got a whole little. We bought a whole section. We said we'd get whoever wanted to come. So when they came out, we were like, screw it. We just grabbed the whole gang of them.
I wondered why the ticket sales were so good in Arizona.
They should be good. We were joking though. We might go back and see Dusty and all them in Nashville for the last show. We'll see.
That one's going to be a doozy,
in Austin. This leg has all of our friends in all the cities that we know.
Yeah. So. We're hitting a lot of fun cities. Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, especially the ones you named. And we're doing the Greek in LA, which is going to be really special because that's very legendary.
That's something definitely for the books and for your guys' memories, and just check it off the all-time record book, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, man. All right, so like we talk a little bit about like successes, failures, and whatever, but I think it's really cool to kind of talk through. Maybe there's like one or two stories that really kind of epitomize that. So like, what's something where like you tried something and it was epic failure? Like you obviously learned from it, but it was just didn't go as planned.
Yeah. I mean, as I was touching on earlier, how, we've done this independently up until now, and there's been no record label or anyone like helping us, no like huge management team helping us. And it's just been a series of just like us trying to figure shit out as we go. And when I look back at the early years, and I documented it all, so like it's very clear what happened because we have visual proof. But it was so entertaining because we were always highlighting our failures, and it just came with like, one, not taking ourselves too seriously. But when you're starting out with something, obviously you're not going to do it great. And when you're transparent with your fans about like you starting something new and things going wrong, like don't hide it. Like just be transparent, because it can be entertaining, and you're just bringing people along for the ride so they can just see your growth over the years. So man, like we've had countless errors over the years. Like I think back to some of our first shows, we like forgot to get the money at the end of the night. We lost our car keys. We got kicked out of hotel rooms. We did just about everything wrong you could possibly think of. But like that's literally part of it. And I don't know if that's like exactly the answer you were looking for, but like we failed countless times.
On the flip side, so what's something that like you're really proud of that you tried and it was like, wow, this worked out? I mean, again, it could be the YNK podcast, could be like Stevenson Ranch. You guys have had a lot of successes, but what's something that sticks out in your mind that you basically, maybe it was a long shot even, or it was just not something that everybody else does?
Yeah, I mean, you just named a bunch of them, but I'll name something that hasn't been mentioned yet. This was like the funniest thing we've ever done, I think, and it was the biggest success for something so random. But I don't know if you recall the Bellina Cup during COVID. Yeah. We did this celebrity virtual beer pong tournament during COVID, and like we did it for charity, but like everyone was stuck indoors, including celebrities. Right. Like no one could go anywhere. So Mike just reached out to his network and he's like, I'm going to create a virtual beer pong tournament with my celebrity friends. And we're going to do it all on Instagram Live. And people are just going to play beer pong against each other virtually. And fans are going to watch, and we're going to brand the hell out of it, call it the Bellina Cup, and make it like this huge thing. That's the wackiest idea I could ever think of. And like, it's like, how do you even start to execute something like that?
Yeah.
But we marketed the crap out of it. We branded the hell out of it. We had huge celebrities on there. We had Morgan Wallen, and I think like Machine Gun Kelly and Travis Kelce and Marcus Stroman, and like just the list goes on. I'm probably missing some. Gronk was in there. Like Danny Amendola. Like it was the craziest group of people playing beer pong against each other. And like, that was one of those ideas.
Yeah, we might have to bring that back, actually, now that we think about it.
I don't know if it could ever be, I don't think it could ever be duplicated. It was just a moment in time, and like it worked because everyone was home and had nothing to do. So they're like, oh, beer pong for charity and I can stay in my home. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, and see, like I said, this is where I go back to Mike being like the Portnoy of music, because now they have their little like drinking games with Busting with the Boys and all them. Like same thing. Mike's just got the network and makes it happen. People love him. So that's it's super cool, man. I love to see it.
That was a fun thing to see, though. We had so much fun, especially during a depressing time. We had a lot of fun doing that.
Absolutely. Well, cool, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Like we said, so look out for Kilmer. He's got everything going on between, his Monday morning power hour. Check that out on Spotify. He's got the upcoming tour with Mike. So second leg's kicking off here April.
May. Starts in May. Yeah.
Starts in May. All right. So a lot going on. And then obviously check out Grouped. If you're an indie artist, you're looking to get your own platform going, looking to build a community, check out Grouped, another amazing venture that these guys got going. Kilmer, appreciate you, man. Look forward to it. I'll see you for sure in May, but hopefully I'll talk to you before then.
Of course, man. Yeah, I can't wait. Thanks for having me on.